With the increasing amount of private information that's being transmitted over the internet, digital privacy concerns have increased, resulting in the rise of virtual private networks, VPN for short. Raising the question, what effect does this have on our device's battery life? Hi, I'm Ryder, and I'm going to be investigating the battery cost of privacy, motivated by a simple, practical conflict, trade-off between personal security and device usability. If protecting your data means your phone dies at 1 p.m., are you really going to use a VPN? I'm going to walk you through an experiment I conducted to measure exactly how much power a VPN consumes on older devices such as the iPhone 8 Plus used in this experiment. We'll look at the method, the surprising results, and what this means for our daily tech habits. To get to the bottom of this, I posed a specific question. Does the continuous use of a VPN service cause an increase in battery consumption? It's known that with encryption, there comes a little bit of power that's needed, and this power can often drain batteries. But existing research often focuses on the network speed, not the battery life. By focusing specifically on legacy hardware devices that are already battery challenged, we can see if this cost actually translates to a real-world problem. How did I test this? I designed a quantitative experiment using the iPhone 8 Plus that was released back in 2017 with Apple's A11 Bionic chip. I chose this device because it fits the definition of legacy hardware, and it's considered vintage according to Apple. This particular device was my daily driver from January 2020 to October 2022, holding only 83% of its original battery capacity. To keep things fair, I set up a strict environment, running a total of 60 trials, 30 with the VPN disabled, and 30 with the VPN enabled. I standardized the phone settings, setting the brightness at 25%, turning the notifications off, and disabling background app refresh. The task at hand? Uploading an 8 GB file that has been compressed to Google Drive. This ensured the phone had a constant workload, using the processor and the network radio all at once. For the VPN software, I used ClearVPN connected to the fastest available server. ClearVPN uses the IKE v2 protocol, and unlike older protocols, IKE v2 is optimized to be lightweight and fast. At the beginning and end of each upload, I recorded the battery percentage to calculate the total drain. This method allowed me to isolate the VPN as the single variable changing between the trials. Now for the results. And honestly, it's not what I was expecting. My hypothesis was that with the VPN enabled, the battery drain would be greater because the encryption cost. But the data completely falsified my hypothesis. The control group averaged 4.77 in battery drain per trial, while the experimental group had an average of 4.73 in battery drain per trial. That is a difference of 0.04, which statistically could be 0, giving an overall p-value of 0.94, meaning that, quite literally, there was no significant difference in battery usage. But the wild part is, while the battery drain was the same, the performance wasn't, with experimental group having a task that has been completed faster, with much more consistency. This variance in the experimental group was 0.02, compared to the control group, which was 0.5, suggesting the VPN provided a little bit of a smoother, more stable connection. So how did I interpret these results? While the experiment didn't prove that the VPNs drained the battery, it did successfully isolate a specific background task: cryptography data transmission. The effect of this process was statistically insignificant, with a p-value of 0.94, which suggests that under controlled conditions, the act of encryption and secure tunneling alone are simply not contributors to battery consumption. These findings challenge the traditional model that encryption is purely an additive hardware burden, pointing instead to a complex interaction where software optimization can negate processing cost. Practically, the passive load of a VPN is little to none compared to the high drain activities like mobile gaming and camera usage. If you want to save power, you're better off reducing gaming sessions, lowering your screen brightness, and limiting video recording and monitoring app activity. These are all far better ways to preserve your battery life. Because the experimental group was faster, the time variable wasn't consistent. This meant I was measuring two competing effects, CPU drain versus radio duration, at the same time, making it harder to isolate just the encryption cost. Additionally, I restricted the experiment to one device, one Wi-Fi network, and one VPN provider. I would suggest that future studies need to isolate the encryption variable from the network speed. A better approach would be to use a fixed time task, like repeating a task of downloading a large file measuring both drain and time. Additionally, using software-based power logging APIs or a hardware-based power meter. To wrap up, does using a VPN kill your phone's battery? No. The efficiency of modern VPNs and the benefits of a stable connection outweigh the power cost of encryption. So if you're hesitant on using a VPN, you really don't have anything to worry about. You can rest easy. You don't have to choose between security and usability. Now, if you would like to get a little bit more into depth on this experiment, you can find a link to the paper in the description below. Thanks for watching.